Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Empower podcast. This is episode 42 with Ostie. Hi, Ostie.
Hello.
Oh, Ostie, can you go ahead and give us a little background information for the audience? Where you're coming to, all that.
Okay, so I'm from Northeast Ohio. I am a healthcare worker. I was an STNA for 4 years, and now I have been an LPN for 2. And I primarily work with the geriatric community. I have a lot of background and experience with assisted living and memory care settings.
Absolutely. All right, and everybody, if this is your first episode of Empower, we are a podcast run by healthcare professionals and community healers with goals such as establishing and achieving milestones through a continued commitment to raise that transparency and awareness, not alone, but together as a community, with goals such as having legislation passed not only in the state of Colorado and Ohio, but throughout the whole United States and the world, mandating employers to provide and support employee wellness through a minimum of 8 wellness days for all healthcare professionals per quarter, a minimum deposit into an HSA account per quarter that is tax exempt at the federal, state, and local levels, and the establishment of a third-party run anti-retaliation department in each healthcare system. At Empower, we believe in the power of community, diversity, and inclusivity to have those conversations with individuals and organizations that often go unheard. Through thought-provoking conversations and inspiring stories, we strive to raise awareness and promote action towards a more equitable and sustainable healthcare realm throughout the world. Join us as we continue to explore on your various platforms. If you can like, follow, subscribe, all that fun jazz, we would really appreciate it. And we want to go ahead and roll off here to sit back, be yourself no matter what, and get ready to be empowered. All right. Ostie, I wanted to go into the community thank you if we could. Is there anybody you'd like to acknowledge or any organizations that have made a real true difference, not only in your day-to-day, but throughout your life?
I would honestly just like to thank my dad. He has been pretty much this great example in a way of for me to continue to be myself and to continue to be strong for him throughout these tough years that we've had together and my tough years learning to be a nurse and him not on his own accord, but basically interjecting himself in there and teaching me how to be a better nurse as well.
I have to pick a part of the show where I say, Brett, does this guest make you feel empowered? And Katie, with that, thank you. You certainly make me feel empowered.
Awesome.
And thank you to Katie's dad. Shout out there. All right. So we're going to go in here, if we want, into the integrity of healthcare for you and for those folks who are tuning in. The structure's coming out the way that it is, and this is the personal aspect. We can contribute, and it can be anybody from members throughout the community. If you're listening and you're like, well, maybe I can't speak on this, it's literally for anybody that has an opinion on what their opinion is happening in healthcare for them, and then for the community. That's it. That's what we're here for. So for you, Ostie, didn't know, what is the integrity of healthcare like for you?
Like wet newspaper mostly. So I don't really think there is much currently. I feel like healthcare as a whole right now, from my perspective, has gone under pretty bad. It's a lot of focus that seems to be selling a product. I don't think any of the focus is really on quality of care. I don't think it's on retention of health in individuals. I think it's mostly just a drive-by service of Band-Aids and not, treatment plans. So that's kind of where I am with integrity in healthcare right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get it. So I guess it's more I think it's the distinction we've run into is the preventative and the support of that in the long term for quality of life and someone's health, personal health and wellness, versus just literally, like you had said, putting a permanent or a band-aid over a gaping wound, and acknowledging all the things that are really leading to that overall situation. Because we're very good in the United States at when things are the worst of the worst, being able to pick through them and find them out. And it's amazing. One thing that we, I believe, have been working on for a long time, and now we're all kind of aware about it and declaring it, is being able to do the preventative so that doesn't happen. And being able to provide people with, like you had mentioned, an actual plan that they can keep themselves. It's routine, because I think we as humans, a lot of the things we do, even with the organisms that we bond with, are up with routines, and whether or not we want to acknowledge it, like the body has kept count of having a routine, and it will put you through a routine if you're not ready for the routine. Wow.
Yeah, definitely routines are how are how humans work, I believe. I mean, the sun comes up and then it goes down, and the moon comes up and then it comes down, and that's a routine that we can't escape, and our bodies hold a routine that we can't escape either. So just repeatedly just putting very quick resolutions on top of very big, complex, and critical issues, I think is...
Do you have any examples? I think we had talked prior, and there was a term that you brought up for me. It was speed something. It was like
speed running.
Yeah,
Can
you
in
tell
the gaming community.
No. Tell folks about what that is. So speed running is originally derived from. Yeah, go ahead if you can tell.
So, speed running is a term in the gaming community that is used to see, a lot of times the categories are 200% completion, or to how fast you can end the game from beginning to end. And I think there are other categories as well, that like how fast can you get through a game without completing as little as possible, like within the game,
like a video game. Yeah, like a video game.
a video game.
For everybody who's wondering what games, like they're not getting through euchre and speed playing that. It's okay. Yes, folks. No,
Oh,
about video games.
I'm sorry.
But this goes.
True.
Hold on. But this is like.
Euchre
But hold
as
on. But
fast
this
as
has been.
possible.
This has been around for like even Pac-Man too. Like people have tried to speed run like Pac-Man, like or Pong, and this has like been a what's the term? It's a practice, right? I guess, or a hobby, right? Okay, but you're applying it to healthcare. Yeah, that's what you were doing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm applying it to healthcare, but because I think it's essentially like how many corners can I cut until it's a very tiny circle. So basically, how fast can I get something done without having to do as little of the required steps as possible, but to still get to the end point, kind of, or to at least look like I got to the end point as much as possible. As an example, a facility that I used to work in, the roof is about to collapse in on one side of the building. Currently, I don't believe they have a plan to do anything about it, but they did at least move the residents over into the other side of the building, so asbestos doesn't fall on top of their heads.
Yeah, hold on. But for those management all out there, has it been put on to a maintenance request form?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right.
It's been going on for a long time.
Okay, got it. Because some people, they'll say, put it into our electronic system for the maintenance person, and then they can look into it. And the other interesting part I'm realizing since COVID, if I can add in with this, is some of those maintenance people are brand new. Some of those maintenance people aren't even in existence. And some of those maintenance people are actually the another employee doing multiple areas throughout the facility, but they do still have hats. Now, if they do still have certifications, that's one thing. That's one distinction. If they don't, that's another one. Because the other one too is some of them, and I've seen this especially through COVID, some of the people who were changing over oxygen tanks, who were supposed to be the maintenance person at 2-3 in the morning during a holiday, was the nurse or the CNA. And I had that happen in Colorado. Not to mention that, don't get me wrong, should healthcare professionals be aware how to do that? Absolutely, in case of an emergency situation. Now, the same thing too is, how is that handled in society? Some people don't even know that situation. I mean, like the big tanks, like the one. I mean, I'm 6 foot, so like almost as tall as me. I don't know if you've seen those tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to switch over the tops of those, and you have to like use a specific piece of hardware or tool. And most people, they're like, oh, I know how to do that, Brett. Like, I can't believe you're talking about it on the actual podcast. I want to still acknowledge it, because I mean, there's still that 2 a.m., 4 a.m. nurse that the beeper's going off, and they're changing that over while their CNA is literally needing help because someone fell out of bed, and there's this whole situation and so story that potentially could happen. And there's coulds and woulds, and some people could go, well, Brett, you're betting on that. Am I really betting on it, Katie, or is that like the way things are? Like, are people not knowing when I guess, how can I put it lightly? Not lightly, but being set up for success when you go in for a shift. From your employer saying, knowing that you see, okay, so this does chime in with you, knowing that no matter what it is, you worked 2 in a row, and your employer says, hey, can you come in for this 3rd, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, whatever it may be, 12th, for some, and they go, hey, like, would you mind working this for us? And you're like, well, like, are you kind of considering me, first of all? And there's that distinction, and then there's the overall distinction as to, like, is there anybody else available? Like, why am I like the focal point? And it's some of these nurses that I'm hearing, if I can, the reason why I'm bringing this up in topic is they're PRN nurses. Some PRN nurses now are being, I feel, targeted at facilities because they're the ones that are kind of speaking up. They're the ones who are raising transparency and awareness as to what's happening to the current full-time staff. And I'm noticing this too. Some full-time some facilities are only giving referral bonuses if you're a full-time staff first. Like, so if a PRN nurse is able to still give a nurse that works overtime 84 hours a week, and I know a nurse who did it, it was me, and this facility would not give me a referral bonus. And I was like, what's going on here? And they're like, you have to be a full-time employee. And I was like, what?
But you worked clearly way over the full-time hour
No,
mark.
they did. No, that nurse that I referred did 84 hours in a week. 84. And I don't want a ribbon. That's what that nurse wanted to invent as a possibility, right? But they also wanted to be employed. And some people can see the support of someone's dream and help out as many people as they can, and that's just what came out of it. I don't want a ribbon for it. I just would see if I could get a referral bonus, and to see that there's some like stigma behind that, it seems, or a conversation that doesn't want to be had. And I want to have that conversation, Katie. I think anybody would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, your network, your network and your social structure as to who you refer now. I mean, some of the most trusted professions, if you look up statistically, are nurses. Some of the people who are trusted the most are nurses, and
yes,
and healthcare professionals at the bedside. And I think it's interesting to see there's a lack of acknowledgement, I feel like, in the embracement of that. And sometimes people forget they're so, what is the term? They're literally pouring from an empty cup, when it comes to compassion and compassion fatigue as well. And some nurses can see that and acknowledge that, while other ones don't. And they're like, and the other ones know, they're in denial. And they're like, I know you are. Like, or like, I feel you are. At least acknowledge me for doing that. And some are like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not burnt out. I'm fine. Like, and it's like, okay, all right. And then that's the nurse who's literally trying to help promote the quality, health, and wellness of another individual. And
then you're clearly seeing somebody burn out, and then they're refusing that they're burning out, and then you're like, you refusing that you're burning out is burning you out more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's having an impact on me to the point where I'm saying something, and there's nothing wrong with saying something. I think in today's world, we need to open that up. I mean, there are so many different stigmas that have existed for a long time, and conversations that have been like until certain things have been able to be passed, or until legislative bodies have said, okay, yeah, now this is legal. And then everybody's like, now we can talk about this. And the other people have been like, we've been talking about this, and whatever it's been, and it can be interesting to see what that looks like. Okay, so I can see here. So what's happening?
I would say that my residents have more compassion for my well-being than a management team has for myself ever.
Yeah.
So, and my residents that don't have exactly the best mental awareness anymore in their condition will look at me and see the condition that I'm in. I live with chronic illness myself, and they get extremely worried about me almost every time they'd see me. So
yeah,
that's kind of like an example for sure.
I think that even goes down to at least for me, and this is real in depth. Hold on, folks, but into the cellular level of just positivity, regardless of the fact that whether they remember who they are, what year it is, that has not been shaken. And to see that the impact of that on even yourself, I mean, at least for me.
Yeah, they don't remember my name, but they remember my face, and they know that I come in and I help them every day, and they know enough, and they still have that compassion to the root of their humanity, to where they still look at somebody and they know that something isn't right,
Mm-hmm.
So they still recognize that.
Mm-hmm. I've even recently, I think over the last year and a half, if I can share, is even residents that even they have memory care, they can see when someone's being rushed or when someone is short or when there isn't someone else there. Like, they keep count of that too, I feel, regardless if they have dementia or not.
I have a male resident.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
That looks at me, and he knows that I'm a very, I move very quickly. I'm extremely efficient at what I do, and I have a very particular setup because I have a lot of residents that I have to take care of. Even though it's an assisted living facility, it definitely doesn't have individuals that are appropriate for that level of care. So he goes, hey, there's a chair right there. I think you should use it for about 3 minutes.
The resident did this
to
to you?
Name or anything, but he says that he would say that to me at least 3 times a week.
Wow, that's almost like if you want to get real metaphysical. I mean, that's almost like the universe speaking to you.
I know. Yeah, no, it does. It does. It finds their conduit for these things, and it goes through it, for sure. It tries to make a connection.
Yeah.
Great attempts.
Wow. I think it was one of the past podcasts, and if I didn't, I'm bringing it up now because it's been in my head. Is I feel sometimes, even when there's healthcare professionals that come in on full moons, there's suspicions and phenomenons that certain things will happen, and there have been for thousands of years. I think some people, and it's not to justify it, it's just what's there, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and look from what I've found and discovered. Is there's this thing called the veil, and when the full moon's there, they say the veil is thin, and I honestly feel, this is theoretical, if I could share this with you, is I feel like some of the plant medicines that we administer, including some of the narcotics already from the poppy plant, lower the veil too. And I wonder if we're on staff. And I'm getting kind of spooky here, getting spooky, folks. Don't know if this is an area you want to go, Katie. If it is, I'm totally on board.
No, I'm. You'll learn here. I'm extremely spooky.
Okay, let's do it. Hold on, let's try this on, if you don't mind.
I have a lot of knowledge in astrology. So
yeah.
For the moon cycle, there's 28 days. And when you follow the moon cycle, the new moon phase is a phase of rest. And then when the moon begins waxing again, getting closer to its full moon extent, the full moon is essentially the release of all energy within that 28-day cycle as well. So if there is anything that was already coming to a point or needing to be released or needing to end, a lot of that will actually end up happening during the full moon phase in the moon cycle. So I understand completely where you're coming from.
So hold on.
When you're saying
no. Let me no, because I'm putting together what it is you're saying. So you're saying that regardless of this, if this is all theoretical, obviously, but there's this containment of all of the energy up until that day, and it could even be released when the veil is most thin. Is that what you're saying?
It's when the moon is full. So when the moon is full, think about the light is completely on now. So no hiding. We're seeing all the corners that maybe were in the shadows, right? So the room is fully illuminated now because the moon is full. There is no hiding anymore. So whatever was going to happen is going to happen now. Whatever was going to end is going to end now. things are coming to a resolve.
Yeah.
Energy is being released.
To do it once again.
To do it once again in the
Wow.
cycle.
Wow.
In the routine.
Yeah.
We all live by routines.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And within measure. That's what the other one I'm living is we see things with beginning, middles, and ends. I mean, I think, and that's more, I guess, more on activity of humans versus like energy. Which, there's the whole can be created nor destroyed, can transfer into other forms. So, wow. No, I dig this. So, what was I going to say? I was even wondering with the integration of plant medicines into, if I can go ahead, if you wouldn't mind talking about plant medicine.
Yeah.
And that's not just for those who are wondering, Brett's all fixated on marijuana and psychedelics. No, that's nutrition too. So it's amazing
that's
that,
where,
yeah. Well, if I can throw in like a hybrid situation, I mean, you look at a memory care unit where you're around a full moon, patients on a narcotic, so that's plant medicine. Is that a situation? Like, is that sorry, movie scene? Like, cut to it. Like,
I've definitely never made that connection before, but I can see exactly where you're going with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I guess this just made me think about like the medication melatonin.
Ooh,
how melatonin is naturally created like in our body to give us a routine to help with our sleep cycle. And I've noticed with like a lot of residents and even myself, like melatonin will only work for a couple of times and then it doesn't anymore. And then it kind of like doesn't help with the sleep cycle anymore. And I always wonder if that's because your body itself makes melatonin, and then when it's introduced more melatonin, it's like, wait, I already have this here in the body.
Yeah.
I think it figures it out after a couple of days where it's like, wait, I already make this. Why are you giving me more?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it away.
Okay, hold on. On the topic of melatonin, have you had the people who say they're not going to take it because they have nightmares?
No, I haven't had anyone actually complain of nightmares to me when they're taking melatonin. I've had people complain of nightmares with Ativan for sure.
Okay. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's still, I think, the one patient out there that will say that they have this, and it's just because they don't want to do it, and it's their own decision. They can just refuse it.
A lot of times that
can happen, and sometimes they have to put something down on the paper, and that's the physician, their own order that they write, and that's it. That's the order that's followed. That's all I have to really say on that. But wow, okay, yeah, the veil, and then what was the other thing I wanted to kind of mention? Is there anything you'd like to share that's made a true impact, I guess, on your nursing practice in your life that you'd like to bring that may empower some of our listeners that maybe don't feel like they're able to make a difference, or things that I guess you could ask for or other people could ask on the job nowadays if they're getting hired in as a new healthcare professional, anything?
I think the thing that is the most empowering working with geriatrics is just my residents and themselves. And if you feel like you don't make a difference, just remember that when you're working in the geriatric community and even in memory care, and maybe they don't remember your name, and even if you have the opportunity to make those individuals laugh or to help those individuals with anything possible, it is making a difference. Even if it is only for a moment, even if it is only for that shift, it's still making a difference. I think a lot of times we get focused on making a difference as a whole, like as making a difference in my life as a whole, like from birth to end.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you have to just take it within the moments of how you help that individual. If you could get them to crack a smile, or if you can get a moment in between their screams to get them to hear you, I think that brings me back.
Yeah.
That brings me hope.
And you revisit that, it seems. That's what, honestly, wow.
And they keep coming. They keep coming as long as you have an opportunity to do so. Like with me and my residents, I do everything in my power to make them laugh as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I am the funniest thing to them
Yeah.
every day that they see me.
Oh my gosh.
I had, I think, 5 Halloween costumes this year.
You did? What were you?
Huh?
What were you? Yeah, share with the audience. What were you?
I was a snail.
Uh-huh.
I was a witch. I'm already a witch, but I was a snail witch.
Mm.
And then I was like a pumpkin. My resident called me a spooky girl.
Okay.
Where I had stuff where it just said spooky on it. Like, it was a bunch of, like, clothing items that I had that, like, said spooky or were orange and black.
Right, and the font. Yeah, I get you.
And then I just wore them all together that day, and they absolutely loved it. And I bring them in, like, you're not supposed to do this, but I buy my residents stuff all the time.
Yeah, newer nurses do as she says, not as she does.
Fidget toys. I get them just anything silly. I love entertaining them with anything I possibly can. And I don't know. I like the challenge of making something out of nothing. And I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The joys of toilet paper, if I can share that. The things you can do with smaller resources. I mean, even with pranks, I mean, even the real tough, grumpy ones. I've even used toilet paper.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, and the toilet paper is like the breakthrough for me. And I've noticed you can even, like, if I can offer this to other people, if they're like, oh, I'd like to do it. No, like, literally do the whole, like, prank where people would, like, put it on their shoe and some people are like, oh, well, don't make your resident fall. Okay, that's a story. Okay, it's a story in your head. Make sure you do this correctly. Or have it, like, hang out the back and they go, yeah, you got something. You're checking their orientation potentially. What's wrong with that? You know, I mean, you're able to see if they have a concern for someone else's safety, and you can chart on that. That's pretty damn cool, I think. I mean, yeah, and it came from toilet paper, Katie. That's all it came from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love
situational awareness is the term.
Jokes.
That's it.
The dad jokes that I'll make, like, I've asked them, like, okay, what are you gonna be for Halloween? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, oh, I thought you were gonna be a bald guy. And and my resident, he doesn't have any hair, and he looks at me for a minute, and he goes, oh, ha ha, yeah, so funny, Katie, you're Ostie, yeah, so funny, you know. So it's just funny.
Wow. 5 costumes. That is.
Oh yeah, no, I just pulled stuff out of my.
I cannot hold a candle to that. I have. Wow.
I have tons of stuff that's just, like, silly. I collect all kinds of silly things. Mm-hmm. I love. If there's anything that my dad taught me, it's to be funny, and I've been funny since I left the womb, and I've used that to my advantage. Forever.
Yeah. So. Oh no, if I can extend this, I mean, nurses may not be able to write medication orders, but we already have a standing order for laughter, and that's the best medicine so far that I've found. In Big Pharma, I haven't found it in a pill or any other drug that you can administer. Yeah, that one. They don't make that yet.
I know I know. I like to tell my residents that I already, like, oh, okay, I'll call the doctor and let them know about that. I'll see if I can get an order for less boredom.
Yeah.
Or order for entertainment, an order for kittens. I said, okay, I'm gonna say I need 5.
An order for kittens. I love it.
I need 5 kittens. I need them sent to room 422. And I need them at about 10 a.m. tomorrow.
And they're like waiting. They're like waiting right by the door or by the phone, right? Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna have an issue, and I'm gonna be calling administration. So.
Oh my gosh! Then you, like, tell them I will take a stand for you. Like, this is legitimate,
and they love it. And then they literally forget whatever they were freaking out about. They literally forget all of it. It's all gone by then because I made them laugh. Mm-hmm. And am I distracting them? Yes, but it's a distraction that's good for them, that benefits them in the end.
Yeah, distraction therapy is another one too. Even the main nurses will go, close your eyes, imagine and some people say this, you're on a beach in a chair, sipping on whatever it is you sip on, and then you see that and step into that. And some people even do it when they are getting ready for their state boards, is to step into distraction therapy. I mean, that can be a very effective method.